Is there a letter attached to yours? Okay, there is.
From
Not mine.
Hanson, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, attached to that, my letter to him?
Your
Yep.
letter, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think you should read that. For some reason, I don't have it.
You want me to read it?
No, that's okay. I just want them to make sure that they read it. Because, and I'll explain it after you get done reading it. Just gonna take it out of here, okay. This is again assuming if you do approve it. Okay, so he estimated his usage at 60,000 gallons per month. Okay, so normally we charge 3 times the rate for businesses outside of the village. That's what generates the $14.40 per 1,000 gallons.
Okay.
We get the amount paid up front because we have no district that he belongs to or anything like that, so we have no recourse if he fails to pay the village, so we need to get the money up front, and then he works off of that money. We'll continuously read the meter, and as he gets lower and lower, he may have to send another prepay before he can go any further. But I shut it off for the board at 60 days, so if he wants to go beyond 60 days, he's got to write another letter requesting the board authorize more time and how much time he wants.
His rate 480.
I'm sorry?
Is our rate 480?
Yeah.
Haven't we raised that?
Huh?
Haven't we raised it?
It's 365. 365, and we raised it $1.15, right?
All right. I thought it was more. Okay.
They agreed to 1440?
Well, this is, I haven't told them anything
Oh, okay.
because it's all subject to the board authorizing a hookup. I mean, if the board authorizes the hookup, I'll send him that, I'll give him a call, courtesy call, and tell him that it's okay.
Okay.
But I didn't tell him how much, but I did tell him that it was 3 times the village rate. He said, that's fine. He has to meet a certain specification of the concrete and can't do it with well water that they use there. So he needs
They're
to,
currently using well water? Is that-
Yeah.
That's the reason?
yeah, and he can't meet the specs. So I told him I would call him if the board authorized it, and then we'll send him the letter. Once we have to go down there and
Supervised.
yeah, monitor it, because we don't know if the guy knows how to turn on and off a fire hydrant and hook this stuff up. But they have to supply, he knows that he has to supply all of the equipment necessary to hook up meter, backflow preventer, and all the hoses to get to his facility. We're not supplying anything, so.
Have we done something similar to this? Has something like this been done before?
We did this back in 2007 with the McClenathan's Trailer Park. We had a drought in that year, and McClenathan's wells dried up.
Okay.
So we had a similar situation where they requested, of course, there was a lot more to that one.
Right.
Because Department of Health was involved. They were actually using it for drinking.
Okay.
As where this is not for drinking, it's just for their, I had Chris Serma go down there and check out the operation and make sure there's no chance of backflow into our system. He said everything is fine.
Okay.
Perry went down there, looked at the hookup at the meter and stuff, yeah, or at the fire hydrant. He said everything is fine from his perspective, so
Okay.
nobody had any issues with it.
Everybody okay? Right, new business, request to hold annual cold turkey run event on Thanksgiving morning. Everybody, you have the letter? And the request from SUNY for need signs and crosswalk walks along Temple and Brigham Road. which I think it's not only a good idea, it's necessary. But how we go about doing that?
It's an annual request. First of all, we don't own Brigham Road. That's a county road. So and the county does not want to put crosswalks there because it's very dangerous. It's dark. There's no street lights there. Crosswalks there, but the college keeps coming to the village thinking that we're going to step up and put the crosswalk. We can't put crosswalks there. It's a county road.
So why don't they go to the county?
He said that the county turned them down already.
What if it's their road, we can't do anything?
Well, that's what I
about it?
said. He said, well, I'll still hold the board. And I said, you could go ahead and do whatever you want in your letter, but I said,
Brigham and Temple?
I think he has like 3
Or just
spaces
Brigham?
there on
Brigham.
Brigham,
There's one on
I wouldn't
Temple.
put 3.
2 on Temple.
Yeah, I can see, I mean, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to have the one right there,
Right,
but
before you go too far.
Okay.
I'm gonna say we have to do
I have some real concerns about putting crosswalks there.
Okay,
One, I don't see the need. I just simply don't see the traffic flow requires it. If a student has to wait a few moments for a few cars to go by before they cross the street, then that's actually safer than the student who assumes the car coming at 40 miles an hour because you're coming out of a 40-mile-an-hour zone when you come off that hill, the thruway overpass.
how about Temple? Is
I
that the
don't even
same
know.
thing?
No, he's talking
He's talking
strictly
about
Brigham.
Brigham,
Yeah.
right, because they have 2.
Yeah, there's something we can do about it anyhow, Brad, so.
Pardon me?
There's nothing we can do about it
No, and
anyhow.
it is a totally mute issue, but
Yeah.
I was concerned that you were thinking about sending a letter of support to the county or something. I just wanted to get my concerns on the table. And if push came to shove with that issue, I think that the school should be required to put in, which I've been begging them to pay for on Central Avenue,
Yes,
the solar energy
yeah.
operated
yeah,
flashing amber lights.
I agree.
That you would punch when you're gonna cross the road to let oncoming traffic be aware of the fact that someone is actually in the crosswalk.
Yeah.
So I just want to get that on the table before the discussion went any further. That's all.
Okay.
so what about Temple?
Temple, there are no crosswalks where he wants them there. So those would be new installations that, again, that
Did we
would
have
be
any,
correct. Correct.
so did we have any?
No, we have crosswalks just going, what would you say, north and south, which is across Maple and across, the college crossings and stuff. But we don't have anything going across Temple. And there is no curb cuts, there's no
Oh, yeah, that's
existing,
right. That
so you would have to
Right.
make them all handicap accessible. You would have to put, like, kind of like what they did out here.
Right.
Yeah, so all of that would have to be torn out, done. You have to have it at a certain pitch, the whole
If the
thing.
campus is asking for it and they're willing to pay for
Can they
that's a
pay
good
for
all of
point.
something?
that,
Yeah,
and what Brad is suggesting for safety, maybe then we can consider that. But
Can we write them a letter if they want to pay half of it? And then put the lights?
I'm not a big fan of mid-block crosswalks. I was
Not-
not
yeah.
a big
Not
fan of
mid-block.
mid-block.
Because of
They're
the
not
others.
safe.
No.
They're not safe, and
No.
they give the illusion of being safe, and they're not.
Yeah, because there is no stopping of that ongoing.
And I'm just sharing with you,
it's like Central Avenue, right?
the schools, yeah.
Yeah,
Central
that-
Avenue is tough. I watch those kids try to
Oh, it
cross
is.
there, and it's like people just won't stop. They just,
But if they have these flashing lights, they
That
won't
would be
stop?
huge. That would be a
Right.
huge
Well, that's-
asset to making it a safe place.
Well,
Because they do cross all the time.
That's why I said if the college was interested in making it safe, then maybe they.
I'm
might consider it.
not personally aware.
There she is, that's it.
I'm, from the police department's perspective, I'm not personally aware of any incidents of close calls with pedestrian traffic trying to cross back and forth on Temple Street. I'm not aware that there's difficulty in crossing, and I'm not aware that there's a safety issue as far as close calls. So, you may be creating hazard where there isn't a hazard.
Right.
I'm just
Okay.
sharing that with you.
I come in and out of these roads all the time on the Temple, and rarely if ever wait for a student to cross there. Brigham, I wait. There's always somebody standing at that corner of Brigham and whatever that road is, right, coming off of Ring Road.
Yeah.
But I've never had to wait at these other two streets. Because they just don't cross there. There's not a lot of, they stay on the same side of the road.
Right.
So they cross in front of me, but I don't wait for them to cross Temple. And Brigham's another issue, so.
So they don't really have any data that kind of shows that this is necessary.
Well, we don't
Right.
have any, and I don't think they would.
Right, so-
I think it's just an annual thing that
just
just
comes
keeps
up every
coming
year.
up every year. And we go, right, Brad? We go through the same discussion every
I think
year.
it's a feel-good thing, but I don't think it's a safe thing.
So the Central Avenue crosswalk, there's no, we can get lights there. How did that
That's the
conversation go?
problem. That's the problem, we don't have lights.
They didn't.
there.
That was a curb cut already. That's been there for years. That was already curb cut, and there was on both sides of the road, and that was a crosswalk.
It is scary there. People don't slow down.
No,
Even when someone's waiting there to cross, people don't slow down.
right.
We learned from that. We learned from that. That, I think that the board approved that. I think everybody thought that that was a good,
Because a
safe
student
thing
got
to
hit
do.
there.
And a student has been hit there by a student. Because in the rain, it's very difficult. It gets very dark, especially when the leaves are out. Many years ago, about 20 years ago, the village actually, in an energy-saving effort, reduced the number of streetlights on all the streets. And so there are far less streetlights today than there were 20 years ago. And so when the trees are in full bloom, it does get a little difficult to see people stepping into that crosswalk or even in the crosswalk, especially on a rainy night. And I think we learned that we really do want those amber lights there. I think that is, again, it's my opinion, I just think that is one of those things where the college can step up and help us fund those types of things. But that's just my opinion.
Brad, what do you think on Route 20, all the crosswalks? I know like in Westfield, they have those signs that are in the middle of the road. What's your thoughts on something like that?
The beauty of Westfield is there are absolutely no, if you're traveling west on Route 20 in Westfield, there are no mid-block left turn, there are no driveways. We have all kinds of right and left turns all through downtown, going into alleyways and driveways and roads. So we can't put the signs in the middle of the road because we're constantly utilizing the center lane. We're constantly in and out of the center lane. So those signs don't work for us. I think they are putting a great number of crosswalks in. I actually called the state DOT when I saw them marking to put on Newton at Main. They put a crosswalk on both sides of Newton Street.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and I can't for the life of me understand why we need a crosswalk on both sides of Newton Street. And I called the state and said this is a big mistake to put that there, because when cars are coming up Newton and they want to make a right-hand turn, they're not going to be looking for pedestrians in that crosswalk. And they've created a dangerous situation there where there wasn't one. There was already a crosswalk there, to the point where they actually are cutting back the berm and lowering the sidewalk on both sides. There is actually, and I worry about how our sidewalk plow is now going to function going into this dip and out of this dip, so that there is.
Plus the one going up West Hill, same thing. It's a big dip in the sidewalk.
The representative from the state DOT told me the decision comes from people higher up than him, but he would certainly share my concerns with them. And within 5 days, they were putting that cutaway in and putting it in. I think it's a big mistake. I don't think it's necessary there. There's already a crosswalk literally on the other side of Newton. Like, why would you put two crosswalks right on top of each other and create a dangerous situation? But, and like I said, I know we plan I've been on the radio for 2 months running now telling them we're going to step up our enforcement, not just of motorists, but of pedestrians who are not using the crosswalk, and we are. We've just been waiting for the crosswalks to go. We couldn't take any enforcement measures until the crosswalks. But not only are we gonna be writing tickets on the motorists who don't stop for the pedestrians, we're gonna be writing tickets on the pedestrians who still continue to cross mid-block. And, you know, especially right out here. They always cross mid-block out here. So,
Better be careful.
Thanks.
Fortunately, they are putting those new electronic things, lights to let you know when to walk, and the talking thing, there. And of course, being handicap accessible is great, so.
I wish all the mid-block ones had the amber lights. I think it should be a law.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Mid-block crosswalks, you have to have the amber light that you push and it comes on and lets everybody know someone's utilizing the crosswalk.
All right. So, do you have anything else? We have time to go to executive, I think.
Ready? I hereby make a motion to enter an executive session to discuss medical, financial, credit, or employment history of particular persons or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person. Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esco?
Yes.
All right. Okay, call this meeting to order. The special meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, duly called and held on the 18th day of September 2017 at 8:04 in the Trustees Room, second floor, Village Hall, Fredonia, New York. And public notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media and conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with law.
There are no reports tonight.
Public portion opened. Nobody has anything to say, okay.
Ready for resolutions?
Resolutions, please.
Whereas Hanson Aggregates New York LLC has requested temporary water service for a period of 60 days from the village per letter dated September 15, 2017, from Bill Gross, Plant Superintendent. And whereas the village board agrees to supply water to the plant on Bennett Road for a period of 60 days, unless canceled sooner by the village, at the out-of-village business rate of $14.40 per 1,000 gallons. And whereas Hanson Aggregates New York LLC agrees to pay for the estimated water usage in advance due to the fact that it is being supplied outside of the village and outside of any existing water district. And whereas Hanson Aggregates New York LLC will provide all the equipment necessary to make the hookup at the hydrant at the entrance to their business on Bennett Road, and with the supervision of the village street supervisor, Perry Mitchell. Now therefore, be it resolved that the village administrator is hereby authorized to write a letter to Hanson Aggregates New York LLC outlining the terms of the arrangement and requesting advance payment of $2,000 for estimated use for the 60-day service, and be it further resolved that Bill Gross, Plant Superintendent, be notified that any further request for water beyond the 60 days authorized in this resolution must be made in writing and approved by this board.
Second.
Trustee Greeley?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
And we are done. Somebody?
Yeah, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Trustee Greeley?
Yes.
Trustee Christina?
Yes.
Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Jones?
Aye.
Trustee Esco?
Yes.
That's right. Thank you very much.